Yes, friends, we are in the second lesson of Twinmotion. Twinmotion is a completely free program, friends. You can use it with peace of mind. We will progress in this field by creating really beautiful scenes and applications. When you click on the Start section, Twinmotion 2025.1 will begin, friends. I am clicking the Start button and will run Twinmotion 2025 from the Epic Games launcher. In the 2025 axis, it's one of the most advanced and latest released parts of Twinmotion. Here, product management, a product-focused system, scene creation. You can use Twinmotion very easily in many areas that come to mind, friends. Having Epic Games behind it is really a big advantage for us. Why Epic Games? Epic Games. Friends, almost 70 to 80% of all the games you see on your tablets, mobile phones, and computers are made with the Unleashing engine from Epic Games. That's why, since there is a very good and progressive team behind it, they transfer the innovations. They make their to Twinmotion. That's why it's really a very solid program. Look at the puddles and dirt on the asphalt here. Such ambience. We will see these in the upcoming sections in the advanced ease levels of the lessons. We will start small and gradually move upwards, step by step. Friends, I really think it's very enjoyable. Both cinematic films, enhancing ambience, using effects, and what we call astronomy on stage, weather conditions, weather effects, and various effects can be corrected and used here to bring this to the desired working environment with the ambience you want. In fact, there are some important innovations in the latest version of 2025 as well. By using them, we will make our stage stronger. Before that, we need to take a look at the interface of Twinmotion 2025 in this section. We need to see the usage features, friends. How do we use it? We need to improve our keyboard and mouse skills, because mouse and keyboard skills, that is, an example of usage between the keys in games and the mouse, usage habits will lead us to gain better Twinmotion, better program skills. You have arrived at this main screen, friends. The innovations of Twinmotion 2025 are here. Here, you can also see the works done in Twinmotion. I also had some works here a few months ago, because Twinmotion gives a model every Friday in its own group, and those who come first in the competition are featured here. Friends, hopefully you will also participate in these sections in the future. I am clicking on this cross-section. If you don't want to see this but do see it, if you don't want to see it, you can remove the show and startup section and leave from here. The resources here are Twinmotion's own resources, friends. I am closing this section. Now, this part, friends, the main screen of Twinmotion. What does the main screen mean? The main screen is actually the part where the user navigates and can move around comfortably with everything at their fingertips. In Twinmotion here, the right and left sections are a bit different. There are friends here who use Unleashing or have not tried it before. It doesn't resemble the interface of Unleashing or other programs because it has a very different interface. The previous interface of Twinmotion was even a worse interface. I can actually say it was bad because it was a more impractical and inefficient interface. This interface is more efficient, more productive, friends. Think of it like this, friends. In the middle section, the part that requires the user to navigate the scene and make changes with objects. So on the top bar here, move, rotate, scale. I mean, when I select an object, I will show all of these. I'm explaining it roughly right now. I am explaining it roughly so that you know where the objects are. While changing objects, there are tools like move, rotate, and scale, meaning shifting, rotating, and enlarging from their place. While there are tools like move, rotate, and scale, meaning shifting, rotating, and enlarging from their place, the lower part of the screen indicates that you can navigate using the WASD keys. For example, look, I can navigate using the WASD keys. I will show all of these one by one. With Q and E, you can move them up and down. You can use the same in Unleashing and other programs as well, because learning these is a nice process. You can also set the keyboard speed from 1 to 6. I pressed 1 right now. I'm moving with the V key. Look, friends, it's very slow. I pressed 5. It's fast. I'm pressing 6, even faster, as you can see. This speed might mislead the user a bit. Why? Because if you lose the object and don't know the shortcuts, I will show them too. It might be a bit difficult to find the object, friends. That's why it's ideal for you to work at a speed of 3 or 4 from the keyboard as much as possible, friends. Now, on the left side, in the library section, all the models I transferred from Twinmotion or my own personalized library, along with the user library, are all here. When I think of a model, a texture, a light, a tree, an object, or an HDR file, I will explain to you what they mean. I can assign them here using the drag and drop method. Always keep the left side in your mind as your tool library, as a library. On the right side is the part where you interactively change the scene. For example, where you change the HDR. Look, I switched from HDR here and the scene changed instantly. The dynamic sky section and the HDR section are new features. They are side by side in Twinmotion. Previously, they were one below the other, then they came side by side. In Vision Magic, which is the part where we change environmental elements, and the camera, render. FX section is where we add our effects friends. We will see all of these. We will see what each of them does and how they affect the scene friends. At the top is the list mode, where we open and close the models here. Look, we can transfer the background part, the part on the ground, and this part here. Later, when we import a model from the import section here, we will be able to make adjustments related to them as well. Friends, it has such a beauty. Think of this right side as the part where we change the environmental elements and dynamic elements, that is, the ambience and flow of the environmental scene. At the bottom, there are places for importing models and manipulating the terrain, creating a population, and media, meaning outputting, taking image, and video outputs. The export section is also here. Think of it that way. The screen is divided into 4 parts. We will address all of these in order, friends. There is something important here for you to see, that you have logged in. In the file section, look here to see that you have logged in, friends. In this part, look, the mouse just got stuck. To see that you have logged in from this part, you need to log in here. If you haven't logged in, the Epic Games Launcher section will appear here, and you will log in. My username is Usen. It appears as Usen. I logged in from here. I can see it from here. Friends, this is an important part. Without logging in, you cannot download the models here. You cannot download HDRs, Megascans, and other libraries. That's why it's very important to log in from here. In the first lesson, we saw our interface. In the second lesson, in the third lesson, sorry friends. Now, by seeing the usage features, we will slowly transition to Twinmotion.